tomorrow. And this now brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is Mr. Sanchez Amor's report on the 2019 and 2020 reports on Turkey. And the rapporteur, Mr. Sanchez Amor, has the floor first of all in the debate.
Gracias, Presidenta.
Thank you very much, President. Commissioner, Minister, thank you very much for being here. It's a difficult task being a rapporteur for Turkey, particularly at this sort of moment in time. But anyhow, falls to me to draft this report, and I appreciate very much all the help I've had from all the groups, shadows, because they have helped us to put together a report which I think is quite sensitive and quite comprehensive. We've had a lot of input from the shadows and from others, and I think it's been very constructive, which has helped us to make a lot of progress, I feel. I think that this is very important because Turkey and our relations with it are very important. This is obviously a critical report, particularly in comparison with some which have gone before. Much has been said about Turkey in the last couple of years in this hemicycle already, and it reflects 2 difficult years, I'd have to say, of relations with this country. Today, I'm not going to try to summarise the 30 pages of the report which we have compiled. I'm just going to try to give you some key messages which flow from this report. First of all, in order to restore some sort of confidence between ourselves and change the rhetoric, which has been quite damaging and has degenerated into nationalist rhetoric, we really need to have a reset. We need to see a change in the autocratic mode of government in Turkey and the autocratic approach to policy making, which has meant that the regime is unable to accept any criticism from even students or doctors or human rights activists, human rights defenders, let alone the opposition. It's a highly centralised governmental system, and the government and the executive are squeezing out the parliament. We need, I think, not to have more action plans and more high-sounding ambitions. We need to have more genuine action, and we need to have compliance with, for example, rulings from the court in Strasbourg, or indeed what the Venice Commission and other important bodies have said. It is essential that the European Union realises that in Turkey we need to have some reset in our relations. We can't simply go on thinking that it's a stick and carrot, an incentive approach that will do. Turkey should be a mature democracy and needs to become such in order to have decent governance for its people and to approximate closer to the model of rule of law we want to see. We need to see it closer to the model of the rule of law, the principles and values and majority democracy which prevails in Europe. And we're not simply going to abandon Turkish civil society, which is pro-European and is pro-democratic, to its fate. So in Europe, we talk about the Turkish president as if there wasn't a huge country with a highly cultured, vital society living there and in need of our support. So we need to hold out the hand of friendship and keep supporting the Turkish people through what is a difficult time. And I would say this to the Member States and to the Council. We simply have to ensure that we set about restructuring our relations in an effective way. We cannot shirk the responsibility for supporting democracy in this country, and our interlocutors in Turkey all too often are not doing what they should do because they're a candidate country with the European Union, and we can't be treating them as if they were a third country because they aren't. We need to ensure that we have a relationship which reflects its status, but which equally protects its citizens and its citizens. We need a positive agenda, but it does have to be based on a condition, which is a strong and robust democracy. The country is also in a customs union with the EU, which has a number of implications, and it means that they have to comply with the tenets of democracy and the principles of the rule of law throughout. So this report is quite critical. I think it is probably the most critical there has been, and I hope that perhaps future reports may not be quite as critical of Turkey, because that would indicate some more positive developments in our relationship. In any event, in terms of migration, we have to recognise that this country is significant for us, and it's important that we maintain our relationship with it, but it's equally important that it complies with rulings and judgments of external bodies. So we need to keep the door open. Critical we may be, but we need to keep the door open, and we need to build on a positive relationship. Thank you.
Herzlichen Dank, Herr.
Thank you very much, Rapporteur. And now we welcome in our midst Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Santos Silva. Welcome, sir. You have the floor.
Madam President, dear Rapporteur, Commissioner, honourable members. It is a pleasure to join you today to discuss the European Parliament's report on Turkey, after EU-Turkey relations were also discussed as a part of the exchange you held at your last plenary with the President of the European Council and the President of the European Commission. We take note of the clear messages and the grave concerns expressed in your resolution, many of which the Council shares. One of the Council's key concerns, and one which you also have highlighted on many occasions, is the ever-worsening domestic situation in Turkey regarding the rule of law and respect for fundamental rights. The targeting of political parties and media and other recent decisions taken by Turkish authorities represent major setbacks for human rights and run counter to the country's obligations to respect democracy, the rule of law and women's rights. Let me assure you that many other issues referred to in your report, such as the situation in the Eastern Mediterranean, the implementation of the EU-Turkey statement and the proper functioning of the customs union, are also being followed closely. This similarly goes for the Cyprus problem and Turkey's role in regional crises, such as those in Libya, Syria and the Southern Caucasus. We have noted your repeated call for a formal suspension of the accession negotiations with Turkey. On this point, let me just recall that the Council, already in its June 2018 enlargement conclusions, noted that Turkey continued to move further away from the European Union. The Council noted that Turkey's accession negotiations had, as a result, effectively come to a standstill. The Council has not changed its position on this. In our view, it remains important, as you also note in your report, that we do not close the door to Turkey. The EU has a strategic interest in the development of a cooperative and mutually beneficial relationship with Turkey. I refer in particular to the common challenges we face and the need to cooperate in essential areas of joint interests, such as economy, people-to-people contacts and mobility, public health, climate and counter-terrorism, regional issues and migration management. Regarding the situation in the Eastern Mediterranean, we have recently witnessed signs of de-escalation, including the discontinuation of illegal drilling activities. The resumption of bilateral talks between Greece and Turkey is a further encouraging sign, which we hope can contribute to a more stable and secure environment in the Eastern Mediterranean. Precisely on this basis, the members of the European Council in March expressed a readiness to engage with Turkey in a phased, proportionate and reversible manner to enhance cooperation in a number of areas of common interest, under the clear proviso that the current de-escalation is sustained, that Turkey engage constructively and subject to the established conditionalities set out in previous European Council conclusions. The leaders also confirmed the Union's determination to use the instruments and options at its disposal to defend the interests of the Union and of its member states and to uphold regional stability. These and other matters relating to EU-Turkey relations are being followed and discussed by the European Council. Its next discussion on the subject is expected to take place in June. As Presidency, we will continue to do our utmost to convince Turkey to do its part and fulfil its commitments. Thank you very much.
Sehr herzlichen Dank, Herr Minister.
Thank you very much, Minister. And from the Council, we move to the Commission. Commissioner Várhelyi, you have the floor.
Madam President, honourable members, dear Minister, I would like to thank this House and in particular the rapporteur and the members of the AFET Committee for their comprehensive report on Turkey. Your report is in line with the main findings of our report, the Commission's report, and the latest developments on the ground. It also clearly illustrates the challenges regarding the EU-Turkey relations. In recent years, EU-Turkey relations were strained due to a multitude of factors, notably the tense situation in the Eastern Mediterranean and the Aegean Sea, developments in Cyprus, in particular the actions around Varosha, and Turkish positioning in favour of a two-state solution in breach of the UN Security Council resolutions, Turkey's deviations from its obligations under the customs union, and the continued backsliding on reforms, democracy, rule of law and fundamental rights. Turkish foreign policy actions, which increasingly collided with EU priorities, continue to complicate EU-Turkey relations, as well as Turkey's relations with individual member states. As a result, EU-Turkey relations reached a very low point last year. However, in recent months, we have witnessed a de-escalation in the Eastern Mediterranean, the resumption of bilateral talks between Greece and Turkey, and of the informal talks on the Cyprus problem in Geneva. These are welcome facts, which need to be sustained and enhanced along with Turkey's constructive engagement with the EU and all its member states. However, this de-escalation on the foreign policy front has not been accompanied by a positive momentum when it comes to domestic reforms. Since the beginning of this year, we have seen a further backsliding on the rule of law and human rights situation in Turkey and a failure to address the Commission's recommendations in these areas. The situation remains a serious concern, a concern that EU leaders address regularly, as these issues are central to the future of the EU-Turkey relations. The targeting of political parties and media and other recent moves undermining freedom of expression and freedom of association represents major setbacks and run counter to Turkey's obligations. Turkey's withdrawal from the Istanbul Convention is a major disappointment, and its failure to implement the legally binding rulings of the European Court of Human Rights, including those on Mr. Demirtas and Mr. Kavala, is troubling. The Commission remains also concerned about the limited progress on economic and sectorial reforms. Let me highlight the repeated dismissals of the central bank governors and the failure to ratify the Paris Agreement on climate change. In the Commission's view, the credibility and independence of economic and regulatory authorities need to be restored as a matter of priority, as they are a foundation of the single market and the good functioning of our customs union. Honourable members, the EU has a strategic interest in the development of a cooperative and mutually beneficial relationship with Turkey. We have also a strong interest in a stable and prosperous Turkey. This is why the March 2021 European Council offered a more positive dynamic in our relationship by expressing readiness to engage with Turkey in a phased, proportionate and reversible manner. The objective is to create the basis for enhancing cooperation in a number of areas of common interest. 4 priority areas have been identified for the preparatory work in the run-up to the June European Council. The first would be trade, second, migration, the third, high-level dialogues, and the fourth, people-to-people contacts. When it comes to trade, we expect Turkey to address as a matter of priority some of the existing irritants and its deviations from the customs union obligations. Resolute action before the June Council is important to prepare the grounds for the modernisation of the customs union. On migration, our cooperation has allowed irregular migration flows to fall significantly in recent years. The EU-Turkey statement remains the key framework for our cooperation in this area. We recognise the immense burden shouldered by Turkey in hosting the largest refugee population in the world. In this context, the Commission will soon propose options for continuing the EU support provided under the Facility for Refugees. At the same time, it is important for Turkey to resume returns of irregular migrants from Greece to Turkey without delay and avoid opening of alternative routes, as well as to further reduce arrivals of irregular migrants to Cyprus. On high-level dialogues, the Commission has offered to focus now on health and climate change, 2 important and generational issues of concern. The Commission will also explore ways to strengthen cooperation with Turkey on people-to-people contacts and mobility. We hope that Turkey will seize the opportunity offered by EU leaders and demonstrate its readiness to change its course and set up the basis for a new relation with the EU. Should this not be the case, and should Turkey reverse its more constructive stance of recent months, the EU is ready to use all its instruments and options to defend the EU's interests. However, our priority now is to work constructively with Turkey and bring about the positive changes and improvements we are all awaiting. We are ready to create a new relationship with Turkey. I am convinced that the consensus among EU institutions and member states on what this relation should be has grown in recent years. However, we will need Turkey to cooperate and engage all the way. Thank you.
Herr Kommissar, herzlichen Dank.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. On behalf of the Committee on Petitions, the next speaker will be Mr. Jambatsky. Thank you very much. Thank you, President. Thank you, Commissioner. Colleagues. Well, I am wondering when you will finally open your eyes and really understand what Erdogan is up to. When will you finally understand what he is actually doing in Turkey? The way he responds to Turkey is to journalists and their children. When will you open your eyes to his attacks on Cyprus and Nagorno-Karabakh and Armenia? When will you open your eyes to the fact that the media in Turkey are not free? When will you finally understand that this gentleman is laughing at us? Commissioner, it's very nice that we are trying to have a partnership with Turkey, but Erdogan is laughing at us. Laughing in our face. Madam von der Leyen ended up having to sit away to one side. I mean, this man is a dictator. He does whatever he wants to. He makes